Hello, everybody. I'm back. Hopefully, you enjoyed my video on the PvE version of this build of the new DK with the one bar build. I now have the PvP version of it. And actually, I started this right off where the other one ended. I don't have the setup on. Let's go get it. I really like this PvP setup because again, I'm patterning off of the of our Frostagon build and seeing, can I actually make this for a fire themed build? And the answer is yes. Oh my gosh, did I have so much fun with it? I named this this Khajiit's on fire. He's really great, a lot of fun. And remember, the goal of all of our PvP dad builds is not to be pro, because we can't be pro, because we just don't do it a lot in there. If you've ever seen these wonderful pro PvPers, Ness ESO, Pain in the Axe, oh my gosh, so many, of course, now I'm forgetting everybody's names and stuff like that. Biz Lobo, all these, Mike Macon, all these wonderful PvPers, and what they do and their understanding of PvP. And they just do it so much that they understand it, and they understand there's not a rotation, there's nothing. You've got to create a balance of offense and defense, and know when to charge in and know when to back off. Deltia's another one. I'm thinking of everybody's names now. All these wonderful people in there. And so I get a lot of inspiration from all of them in there. And the one thing that's a little bit tricky is, especially for a PvEer that dabbles in the PvP, is that we all get a little bit flustered. And having, 2-bar builds in a PvP situation is a little bit tricky for us. It's too many buttons. We're in the middle of swapping bars and we're dead. All right. We also think a little bit too much about a rotation, which is not about doing a rotation. It's responding to what your enemy is doing. And sometimes we make ourselves a little too glass cannony. We got to think about, wearing some heavier gear, and putting things on and abilities on that will keep us so that we stay in the fight a little bit, so we don't get one-shotted, and so that we can survive a little bit. And so that's the success that I'm looking for in a PvP build. I mentioned this a little bit with Frostagon, but the idea of how I make a PvP dad build is so that if we get into PvP, we can mix it up a little bit, and we're not going to go down right away. We're not going to be running into a castle and then somebody snipes us, boom, we're dead. Or somebody is sneaking around, we don't see him, and stuff, and a Nightblade pops up and backstabs us, and we're instantly dead. It's like, this is going to be something that can take a few hits, you can react to it, you've got time to do things, and you can dish it out a little bit in here. One of my favorite things to kind of test this out when I went into PvP is when I had more than one person on me at a time, and see how long I could survive. With dodging and watching what they were doing, and, focusing maybe in on the healer, try to take the healer out first, and this was wonderful. This really stood up to that testing in there. Plus, it had to be a all fire theme, so that was kind of fun to try to put together, and something that, like I said, gives a little bit of offense as well, so we can take out people. Because that's a lot of fun as well. So let's go over all the stuff. Let me hit them for a little bit here. I like this, that I can go boom, and then I can shut them down. Turn around here, and then let's look at the CMX. Boom. All right. So here's what I'm using. Okay, I am using. The first thing is the Master's Perfected Inferno set. Now, if you remember, the Master Staff items come out of a Dragonstar Arena. Here's the thing, you don't need the Perfected. I was lucky enough to go through with a group a bunch of times, and I was able to get the Perfected. The only change, and if you look at it, it's the second of the it's the first of the 2 items where it says 2 perfected items. You lose a little bit in your spell damage, but don't worry. In PvP, it's not going to matter a whole lot. We're going to have plenty of spell damage, and again, we want to be a little bit tanky. We want a little survivability. So losing that is not that much. You get everything else with it. Okay. The great thing about it, and we saw this before with Frostagon, it reduces the cost of destructive touch by 10%, increases your spell damage by 600 for 4 seconds after activating it. So look at that. We're going to get 600 back. So a net thing of 500, a little bit under 500 for our spell damage increase by using that. We'll take it. All right. So Master's Inferno Staff charged with a fiery weapon enchant. Then for the monster set, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Grothdarr, I love Grothdarr. Grothdarr is so cool. I mean, what's cooler than you hit, people are trying to invade your space, and then boom, you've got this circle of fire that's just red around you. Because remember, if they're looking at you, they just see that red ring, or whatever their damage color, that they have on there is just like, oh, I gotta get away from him. Gotta get away. So Grothdarr is so great. It gives us some crit resistance because we've got it in Impenetrable. We got it in medium because the rest of our stuff's going to be heavy. When you deal damage to an enemy within 8 meters, you have a 10% chance to create a lava pools that swirl around you, dealing flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters of you every 1 second for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. It scales off the higher of your spell damage. So really kind of a cool thing. If you haven't seen that before, all right, I'll get all my stuff, all my dots and everything going. There it is. Swirls around you, it moves with you. I like that too, so that so you've got that moving around and doing damage. So much fun. All right, where's my key? Oh, there it is. All right, so that's our Grothdarr. We're going to do both in medium because everything else is going to be heavy. Now, it's like I was thinking about. It's like, what can we get that's heavy? All right, what can we get that's fire? And then I think it was Ness who mentioned it. I was asking him about it. I'm just like, what can I do that's a heavy set? I think originally I had Burning Spellweave. And he was like, well, that's okay, but it's light. You want some heavy armor in there. I'm like, oh, that's true. And there is a set that comes out of Craglorn. Believe it or not, I said Craglorn. Oh my gosh. All right. If you go, boom, out of Craglorn, all right, there's all these ways of different things. The way of air, the way of fire, the way of martial knowledge. We want the one of fire, all right? And I love this because I've been watching a lot of The Mandalorian, and this character, before I turned him to Fierygon, was named the Mandalorian. Oh my gosh, it's all coming together. So I love that it's the way of fire. I'm like, this is the way. This is the way. So we've got the way of fire on. All right. And we've got that in. So we've got all the heavy. So it's all the body pieces on here. And what is the way of fire, you may ask? It gives you a little spell damage. Gives you some stamina. Gives you some crit. We love all that. When you damage with a weapon, you deal an additional 3589 flame damage. This effect can occur once every 2 seconds and scales off the highest of your weapon and spell damage. All right? So you get all this extra damage as you're doing this. All right? Absolutely just amazing. Yeah, so you don't have to do anything. You're just going to get all this extra flame damage, and we love flame damage. All right? So we use Grothdarr, our Way of Fire, and then I've got on Necklace of the Trainee and Ring of the Trainee to give us a little bit of extra, because we don't really have enough to be able, because we're using a full monster helm set, and we want to use Oakensoul. We don't have enough to do another full set in here. For this, a little bit different than what I have for my PvE, we've got Infused for all 3, instead of the Bloodthirsty that we were using. And the multi-effect is still the spell. Actually, I did spell damage, and then the Oakensoul on here. I've got the effect that comes on the ring itself, the original effect on there, and stuff like that, which is the recovery on everything. So it's the original on there. Yeah. So we've got that multi-effect going on in there. Love it. What do we got for our CP? We've got Wrathful Strikes. We've got Focus Mending, Master Arms, and Ironclad. That's what we had before for our for Frostagon. Works just as well here. Again, we have our for our red, our fitness. We have our Survival Instincts, Celerity for running around faster, Sustained by Suffering, and Pain's Revenge. And green, whatever you want, because it doesn't really affect, and all the passives, So go through that. Race, Khajiit, People ask, oops, sorry, buddy, I didn't mean to turn around and hit you. I just meant to put away my weapon. He's got the bloodlust. Your attributes here are going to be all into Magicka. We are doing for the Mundus. We're doing the Atronach. We're doing the Atronach because we want to have, where's my Mundus Stone? Where are you? There you are. We're using the Atronach because we want to get that Magicka recovery. Recovery is such a big thing for PvP because you run out of it so quickly, and you want to make sure that you get it back as soon as you can. The food that I use for it, same thing as I did with Frostagon, the Jewels of Misrule. I love that, Jewels of Misrule. And actually, we're going to be getting into the Jester's Festival, I think, next week. I'm doing this on, or this coming week. Maybe end of the week. So the end of March. So you're able to get the recipe for that so you can make it in there. And then I use the Tri restoration potions that we get for free out of our daily rewards. So I put that on there. All right. So that gets us through all of there. It gets us through all of there. So the skills. Let's look at the skills. All right. So our skills are going to be Eruption is back. All right, I'm going to switch over to here. Engulfing Flames is back. Burning Embers is back. Same thing as our PvE stuff. We've got our Coagulating Blood. I just love a big heal. It's, does wonder. I did change the ultimate to the Ferocious Leap because not only does it kind of give you a little reprise and knocks people away from you and stuff and stunning them, gives you a second to kind of just recalibrate yourself. You also get a shield, which is really nice. So when you find yourself in times of trouble, that's a good one to use in there. And then our big spammable that we're using is Flame Clench. We're, of course, are using that because of, we've got that Master Staff that we're going to be using. So, yeah. And I've used the Clench version of it because we're going to be fighting up close anyway. So it's got that 15-meter range on it. And it's got a knockback into it. Really great in there for just stunning people. So again, we have two ways of stunning the Flame Clench and the Ferocious Leap. So what I'm doing when I'm battling against someone is that I'm throwing that down. I got things that go off. I get a little closer to them. I might be able to knock them down. Then I load up on the stuff, and then when they're going to try to hit me with something, and I knock them down again, and I just do some light attack weaving and go at it. I've got a shield. I've got all that stuff, and a nice big heal when I need it. So, yeah. There we go. My eyes could be a little invisible for a little bit. Yeah. Like I say, I always forget something in this. We got our traits, we got our stuff, we've got our Grothdarr, we got our things. Our Oakensoul. A lot of this stuff, like I say, because it's so similar. If you've watched the Frostagon build stuff, that stuff, you'll see a lot of correlations between the two, a lot of similarities for for any of our skill stuff, take all the class passives, take all the passives in Destruction Staff, because that's what we're going to be using in there. So take all those. Now we have no light armor, so take all the passives in medium and heavy. So switch that out. Do like I did with the armor, the armory. I've got one set up for my PvE and one set up for my PvP. It's really nice. And then Undaunted your racial. And because we're doing PvP, all your alliance passives and your support ones as well. So, and then all the other passives are at your discretion. But when you flip back to PvE, you'll have them back as well. So. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that's all I can kind of think about. Here, let me end it on a different look, a different background, kind of where I started from, in there. So yeah. Thanks everybody. Gosh, like I said, I took this into PvP and I'm loving it. I didn't know that I was going to love this as much as I did, and I kind of really do like getting back in this character because I kind of retired him a little bit this year. Because I had done so much work with them all of last year in getting my Godslayer and doing all that. So it was a lot of work, and I had learned the class from the ground up about this time last year, and it was a lot of work, and I think I got a little tired of it. And so having something that's a little bit easier, a lot of fun, themed build. Just makes it, just got me back into it. Very similar situation that when the Warden came out, and I started to do Frostagon with update 36, and they had to change this to Frost Staffs, that I got, into that. And having this new, with the new Rune Carver for, this got me into, for doing the PvE side, and then again, see if I can make a PvP, complement to it. So now we've got 4 dad builds. A Warden and a DK for PvE and PvP. So a lot of fun stuff. So we'll keep on going through these, and we'll see. Maybe we'll figure out something for some of the other classes, or when the Arcanist comes out pretty soon. If there's a dad build version that we can do a themed version with that, that'd be a lot of fun too. So, all right, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you again for the support. Thank you so much. Check out the other videos and stuff like that. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, ding that bell. It really helps with all the, I would say the matrix, but the metrics in there, especially the comments. I love the comments. And again, if I mess something up in this, if there's something that like either a gear, is not from where it was, which I think I got everything right, or something is misplaced, or something, this would be a little bit better in your opinion. Again, this build is a very new build, where the Frostagon one, I've been kind of honing it for a few years. This one is brand new, making this as a dad build in there. So like I said, I have a lot of fun with it. I hope you do too, and let me know how you're enjoying it. Let me know if you're putting it together. So all right, everybody, thank you so much. And have a good one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.